Gonna be building pantry shelves here for my new kitchen I just put in. Here's our pantry. We got the door walking in here. It's gonna swing in like that. Back wall is that long, and then we got 61 over here and about 45 here. So I am going to rip 4 sheets of plywood I got with my skill saw and a guide that I just clamped on here. We're gonna rip these down to, that's supposed to be 14 and a half. I think I did 14 and a quarter. I gotta change that up. So what we're gonna do is rip them down to 14 and a half and then run them through the joiner to clean up the edge. So I'm gonna cut 4 sheets up like this. And that'll take care of all my shelves I need. There's going to be 5 shelves, approximately, this high between each other, 1.5 inches. So 1x is nailed on the front to stiffen up the shelving. Lumberyard didn't have any straight 1x's, so I bought 1x4s instead of 1x2s, and I'm going to rip them in half and clean them up on the joiner. And a lot of work. So I am going to start cutting these boards up. So our shelves are going to end up 15 inches. Once we get these cut to 14 and a half, join them down to 14 and a quarter. And then that 3/4 will be on the front. So we'll have 15-inch shelves. So the walkway in between these shelves here will be 30 inches less than that. So we'll have like 31-inch walkway up the middle. Should be comfortable without giving up space. Most people build these out of 1x12s. Seems like the going trend. But we're just going to get a little bit more space. Plus this plywood is pretty straight. I bought sanded on one side, and then I'll fill the holes on the bottom side probably, so we can paint this all when it's nailed together. With that new blade and the skill saw and this guide here, that's a really nice cut. There's no need to clean this up. So I'm just gonna go with that for my shelf width so I can eliminate the joining of the edges over here. Finish cutting these all up. I made myself a jig here to mark my saw guide, because how many times I'm gonna put the numbers on these sheets, I'm bound to make the wrong mark and ruin a $50 sheet of plywood here. So yeah, this is something you really want to think about if you're doing stuff this way, rather than marking it every cut on both ends. All right, we got these 4 sheets ripped down to 14 and some inches. They all came out pretty close. I think they're within a 1/16. Now I'm going to rip these in half, these 1x4s, and probably run them through the joiner on the side that I cut on the table saw, because it'll end up being scorched or whatever. So I'm going to cut, I think I got 13 of those to rip in half and finish up the edges on. And then I'll probably, on the unsanded side here, fill in any knot holes and these gaps like that. Probably hit them with some wood filler and sand that down before I bring it up to the house and start installing them. So that's kind of the plan here. We got one side of this is sanded, smooth. That's this side. And they actually filled in anything that was like this here. So one side's good. The other side may or may not have knots like this in it, so I'm just gonna fill it with that and then probably sand this whole thing just lightly with maybe a orbital sander. Where's my orbital? This little guy right here with some 60 grit just to smooth it out a little bit. And we got this pile. How many do I got? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 boards to do. So I'm going to do that. And then I just got to rip those in half. Clean up one edge. And we'll get up to the closet and start working on it. Okay, we got all these boards nailed on the wall here. Nail holes are filled and sanded. And I'm going to start tacking in these shelves along this wall here. They're all cut right here, ready to go in. Cut to fit. And then we're going to have to cut the short ones from that shelf to that wall. Nail them in, somehow secure those two shelves together so they're solid in the corner. And then work our way around. Got all the shelves nailed in, pocket screwed these butt joints in here. Most of them came up in the middle. Make sure you got them clamped if you're going to do that. They moved on me, even on the edge where I had them clamped good, they're not perfect. So putting on these edges is the next step here. Put all them on and then work my way around. I got one on the end cap here. And we'll put one over here. Not all the way to the floor. And then I'm making these little triangles for supports. I think I'll just try. I got that on there to nail into a stud right here in the middle. I think I'm going to try and just do one in the middle on this long side. And hopefully that'll be good enough. Or maybe I should do two. I don't know. I'm going to get these fronts nailed down and see how strong it is, and then decide how many triangles to put on that long span over there. Alright, we're getting further along here. I've done some patching and some sanding. Here's what it looks like when I put the wood filler, the Elmer's wood filler. So I used one of these 8-ounce guys on the boards for the imperfections before I cut them up, or maybe I cut them into strips and then patched them and sanded them. You know, this plywood had one sanded side and one not so good side. There you can see my pocket holes. I'm not going to bother patching them. Up here I patched them. There's what the patch looks like before sanding, and here's after sanding. There's one of my nail holes. There's what the patching looks like. So what I got left is to go around and patch these seams like I did here to try and make that disappear. Still a little more patch in here. Anyway, fill the rest of these nail holes and those gaps and as much of this as I can and finish sanding. The one thing I don't like is this plywood is kind of drooping down here a little bit, going downhill. It's pretty level this way when you put a level on it, but then when you put the level here to the wall, it's not quite. So the one thing I would have done differently, or maybe not, is make the triangles bigger. Rather than having supports go all the way to the floor and having something in the way down there, I elected to do these triangles. And it's pretty sturdy. And then over here I didn't do any because these are shorter. So you kind of got to go with what you got. I mean, I can pretty much hang on that, and that ain't going anywhere. This whole thing is put together with 2.5-inch finish nails. I think I did, yeah, 3 into each stud. 3 there, 3 there, 3 there, and of course these are in studs. With about 5 nails there, and 5 nails down here, 4, 5, whatever. So I don't think it's going anywhere. I think it'll hold a lot of weight. You know, a few nails, that's the only one that actually split out the plywood. You know, a few of them came off the side. And, well, that triangle wasn't quite 90. Or it needed more than 90, I don't know. So I put some shims in there, and I'll patch that with some wood filler. So it's just a matter of the tedious wood filler and sanding and then paint at this point. But I'm pretty happy with it. Yeah, those little butt joints. And the stupid sanding block. I gotta touch up the wall now. But I figured that. So, yeah. It's coming along. Get you at the next step here. Alright, I just got done sanding and wiping this down. I was going to paint it, but I can't get myself to paint it. It looks too good the way it is. It's a shame. You know, this filler goes on pink, and we got a can of white by mistake instead of natural. That's the only thing that's messed up. Well, even the natural looks kind of goofy, but yeah, this looks way too nice just the way it is. So we have decided to just leave it. Leave it the way it is. It's smooth, boy, it's nice. It's beautiful. So, what do I gotta do? Call it good. See, that natural filler looks just like the plywood. Because you got the 1x nailed on right here. There's a seam, you can't even hardly see it except for the glue coming through there. So if you're gonna buy that wood filler, make sure you look at what color you're buying. Unless you're gonna paint it, then it doesn't matter. That's why I didn't really care, but now I decided not to paint it.